Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and today's video is 5 things that would happen if Jack Grealish joined Manchester United. So Manchester United, they have been very heavily linked to Jack Grealish, rumoured around to cost £60 million. Man United are the favourites to sign him. Bleacher's report came out last week and said Jack Grealish to Manchester United expected to happen. Reliable journalists have been saying a deal is likely to happen. So I just thought, you know what, in this video, if Jack Grealish joins Manchester United, this is 5 things that will happen. So the first thing that will happen is Manchester United will have depth in the attacking creative midfield area in the cam position. Now we have Lingard and Pereira that a lot of fans want to get rid of, and I think that maybe we'll sell 1, possibly 2 in the summer, but that we'd only ever sell 2 if Pogba stayed and Grealish came. We'd only sell both of them, because if Pogba leaves, Bruno gets injured, we have Pereira and Lingard to rely on, and an ageing matter. Whereas if we get Grealish, if Bruno gets injured, we have Grealish to rely on, and it gives us the ability to, 1, sell the deadwood, get maybe 20 million for Jesse Lingard or 15 million for Pereira, and 2, it just makes us more of a top team again, because all the top teams, they have good options off the bench if there's an injury. Look at Manchester City. If De Bruyne gets injured, there's David Silva, then there's Bernardo Silva, then there's Phil Foden. If Bruno gets injured, I mean, you could say there's Pogba, but he's always injured himself and he might be leaving. But there's Pereira and there's Lingard. But then, if Bruno gets injured, we now have Jack Grealish. And Jack Grealish can also play on the left. He can play in a double cam. He can play alongside Bruno Fernandes. But getting Jack Grealish in means that we can sell a player like Lingard and just get a bit more depth out of the club. Get 20 million for Lingard. So if we spend 50 million on Jack Grealish and we get 20 million for Lingard, we've only technically spent 30 million on Jack Grealish. And it just means we have more depth in the creative midfield role, as we are lacking a little bit depth in that area. And because if Bruno gets injured, like, we've got to go back to Pereira and Lingard, whereas now we have Grealish in, and Grealish can also play alongside Bruno, because Grealish has played as a wide cam for Villa this season. Grealish can also play off the left. So that's the first thing. Before I get into the second point, please take 2 seconds to hit that like button and then subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football so you don't miss daily football content from me. The second thing is, I expect Grealish to have an instant impact at Manchester United. See, a lot of Manchester United's targets are long-term players, and they're going to get better and better as they play. But Grealish, like Bruno Fernandes, is sort of approaching their prime. They're a captain. They're just going to come in and instantly improve the squad. Whereas if you get a Kai Havertz, he's probably not going to have as much impact as Grealish. However, in a few years, Kai Havertz will probably have more of an impact than Grealish, because, you know, he's got a bigger potential. But Bruno came in and he had an instant impact. He had all these leadership skills, these leadership qualities, and, you know, was pointing at players where to go, and he just improved the whole team. With Jack Grealish, again, he's 24, so he's sort of in his prime. Well, he's about to get his prime. He's got the experience from fighting from relegation, trying to stay at, getting promotion. He's a captain. He's got all these leadership qualities, and I think he'd come in and he'd instantly improve the team and the players around him. The third point is, he gives us the ability to change up tactics, formations and style. With Jack Grealish, we can go to the 4-2-2 formation, which is 2 CDMs, 2 cams. We can play the 4-3-3, get a holding midfielder in, and he plays as a number 8 alongside Bruno. He can even play off the left if maybe Martial got injured and Rashford had to play striker. We could play the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, and we could have Grealish's cam. And you've got Bruno and Pogba behind, and then you've got McTominay behind holding. He just gives us the ability to do a lot more, because if you get 1 more quality midfielder in, yes, that's the first point, we have more depth, but we also can try more. We can play with 4 midfielders instead of 3, and we can switch up the style of play. We don't have to just play the 4-2-3-1. We can play the 4-2-2, and you could have Bruno on the right cam, Grealish is the left cam, you've got Rashford and Martial out top, and you've got McTominay, Fred holding, or even Pogba if he stays. And like, Grealish just gives us the ability to just do more with the formation, because now when you've got more quality players in the squad, you want to build a squad around what fits most of your quality players in. And it just gives Ollie more options as well. And if he needs to rotate an attacker, because he wants to have 3 fit attackers, but you've only got 2 fit attackers, you can play the 4-2-2, because then you only need 2 fit attackers, for example. The fourth point is that Grealish is a creative player that has the ability to break down teams. Manchester United this season have struggled most against teams that are sat back deep against us. Obviously, when Bruno Fernandes arrived, that kind of changed a bit. We've been stronger against teams that sat back against us. We've been scoring a lot more goals. But if Bruno gets injured, then it goes back to the whole, we can't break down a team that sits back against us. But now, one, as in the first point, we've got a Grealish alternative, but 2, Grealish can break down teams. He's a creative midfielder. He can also score goals, but he has the ability to get a pass and break down the team, which is something that we need, because if a team sits deep against us, and God forbid Bruno had to come off, we're like, oh God, well, how are we going to break them down with Lingard coming on? But then we have Grealish that can come on and break them down. And if Grealish starts, if we're playing against Burnley, who we lost 2-0 to, Grealish could put in a good ball up to Rashford, help break down Burnley, and he's just another creative player in the team, because we still need more creative players in the team. We have Pogba and we have Bruno as our only 2 creative players in the team, and Mata, I guess, but Mata's not really going to start in the main games. But now we have Grealish, and if Pogba leaves, it just makes it easier, because now Pogba's levels ahead of Grealish, but if Pogba leaves, at least we have a creative backup, so we're not just relying on Bruno to be our whole creativity for a whole season. Like, the whole season isn't on Bruno's shoulders. And I think, you know, we struggle most this season against teams that sat back deep against us. But if we bring in Jack Grealish, we have more ability to break down a team. And I think this season Bruno showed that one player can make such a difference, because if your weakness is breaking down teams that sit deep, yeah, if we bring our Jack Grealish in, and it's still kind of our weakness, it just proves that, like, if you get one player in that can just help with your weakness, it can make such an improvement. Because look at the improvement Bruno gave. I think Jack Grealish could give a similar level of improvement. The 5th and final point, which I kind of touched on in the first point, is that Jack Grealish can play a variety of positions. He could play left wing, cam, like a number 8, you can play a wide cam, he could probably play off the right. He's not just a player that can play one position, he's quite flexible. And if you notice, of all these players, they're all quite flexible. Rashford can play all across the front 3, Martial can play all across the front 3, all our cams can play off the right, you know, Bruno can even play CDM, and it just gives Ollie more freedom in terms of custom tactics and formations. If he wanted to give Angel Gomez a run, and he could just be like, in like a Europa League game, he'd just be like, oh Jack, can you play off the left, for example. And I think it's really good having flexible players in the team, players that don't just stick to one position, because, you know, as you know, if we want to put Bruno and Jack in the same formation, we can, because they both can play more than just one position. You know, Bruno could even play CDM and Jack could play cam in the 4-2-3-1 system, which is Ollie's preferred system. And Jack Grealish just gives Ollie a lot more freedom with tactics, and he can just play all across the front 3 as a flexible player. So yeah, that's 5 things that would happen if Jack Grealish joined Manchester United. Let me know your thoughts on Grealish joining Manchester United down in the comment section down below. Would you like to see him? Would he be an appropriate Paul Pogba replacement, or would you rather us go for a box-to-box, more like Milinkovic Savic replacement to get Paul Pogba? Hit that like button. Subscribe down to Alice Talks Football if you have not already, as it means a lot. Thank you for watching. See you next time.